CRN TV is connecting you with the industry leaders who are protecting us from the latest security threats. Join me, Cass Cooper, as we highlight the expertise of women who are driving innovation and solving today's toughest cyber challenges. Welcome to Channel Women in Security. Welcome to another edition of Channel Women in Cybersecurity. I am Cass Cooper, and I am here joined with Tia Hopkins, who is the Chief Cyber Resilience Officer and Field CTO at eSentire. How are you, Tia?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good. I've got a few questions for you, so we're just going to run through them, and hopefully we are able to answer some good questions for our audience, but then also, have a little bit of a conversation about you. Cool?
I like it. Let's do it.
All right. So how do you define cyber resilience as something that's different than traditional cybersecurity? So
I think to start, I like to go with sort of industry recognized backings when I'm doing thought leadership, because although I like to argue, I don't like to argue when I'm trying to make a point about how we can secure our organizations. So, when you ask someone about cyber resilience, you get any number of different answers. It's how you bounce back. It's how you're ready. It's, can you hang in there in the face of something, adverse. So I like to go to the NIST definition. So NIST published special publication 800-160, Volume 2, Revision 1. That was in December of 2021, all about building cyber resilient systems. In that publication, they define cyber resilience as the ability to anticipate, withstand, recover from, and adapt to, we'll just go with adversity, cyber incident, fill in the blank. And I like that, and I feel like it is the next evolution, both in terms of a mindset and a cybersecurity program outcome that we need to target, because traditionally cybersecurity is all about being proactive, right? It's securing your assets, it's protecting things and detecting things when things go wrong. But resilience puts you in the mindset of being more adaptable, because we're saying things like it's no longer a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when something happens in our environment, we need to be able to do things like ensure the survivability of critical systems. And cyber resilience puts us in that mindset that what we're preventing isn't necessarily a breach. Those will happen. Incidents will happen. What we're preventing is business disruption.
Great. So with your experience and your background, how has your view on cyber resilience changed over the year? And maybe tell us a little bit why it's so critical now.
Yeah, I think the change for me has been that it's a hot button for me now. It's all the rave as far as I'm concerned, and not necessarily because it's in my title, but because it is important to what we need to do to secure organizations, enterprises today. Because I'm not saying that traditional approaches to securing, protecting, enabling the business are no longer relevant. It's just that they're not enough. If you think about risk management, for example, the first step in risk management is identifying the risk. Well, what if you don't identify the risk? Or what if you can't get the control that you need in order to mitigate the risk? So instead of being prepared for what we know to prepare for, we need to be prepared for anything. When I have these resilience conversations, I ask who my Game of Thrones fans are, and I say, winter's coming. Winter's always coming if you're in cybersecurity. And resilience puts us in a place where we're always thinking we're not getting this false sense of confidence that we've mitigated all the risks, we should be fine. Resilience is, look, we've done our best. We're going to keep getting better. We're prepared for anything. And it changes the leadership discussion as well. It's not, here's what we're doing to prevent an attack. It's, here's what we're going to do when something happens. And here's how we're going to make sure we're in the best position possible to ensure minimal impact to the business and rapid recovery.
Yeah. So what other strategies do you encourage companies to help them when something happens? As you said, winter is always coming. So what can help us better recover and adapt after a cyber attack?
I think, even though I love the way it's set up, right? So you've got your pillars, so to speak: anticipate, withstand, recover, and adapt. What I love about that is it enables organizations to kind of figure out where they are and improve in the areas that they need to improve in. But the thing I encourage organizations to be careful about is to not approach these pillars in a silo, right? So you can operationally segment your focus, but as a program, you want the outcomes to drive across the entire I'll say, the entire end-to-end spectrum. So what I mean by that is the better you are at anticipating what might come against you, then the better positioned you are to withstand something when it does. And then the better that you're able to withstand an attack, limit the scope of the breach, then the less you have to do in the way of your recovery efforts. Because even if you're able to kind of survive and your critical systems are still operational, there is still going to be a bit of recovery that you have to do to get fully back to normal. So the worse the damage is, like the old castle analogy, the worse the damage is to the castle walls, then the longer it's going to take to rebuild them. And so you really don't like get drawn into, oh, there's this new thing, I need to be able to recover faster and we got to be able to adapt. And so you forget about good hygiene and anticipate, and then you're missing things when it comes to being able to detect and respond quickly. They're all important. So I would encourage organizations to kind of consider where they are from a recovery and adapt perspective, but don't get too far away from the things that you do well, because it's going to directly influence how well you're able to recover and get back to normal quickly.
Yeah, so it sounds a lot of your suggestion would be know what you do well, like know where you are, know where you need to be, and maybe be it's like a balance between being proactive and reactive and forward thinking. And I think what's so interesting, I'm learning about cyber and security as I talk to more and more experts. And I think what's so interesting is the way that people's backgrounds can help lend them to being great in this industry, especially like women and different leaders that I've met. So as a professor and cybersecurity leader, how do you see your background like involving and like influencing the way that you think about cybersecurity?
Yeah, I hope it influences and changes the industry and changes the world.
That's what I'm talking about.
It is definitely the mindset that we need to have. And to your point around understand where you are and understand where you need to go, I firmly believe that amongst all the things leaders have to do, the main thing is understand where your business is today, understand where your business needs to go, and bridge the gap every day. Because the reality is you'll never get to the end goal because it's a moving target. The business changes every day. Users have bad days. Threats change all the time. And so that's something that leaders need to be aware of. On the resilience note specifically, I am really, really sort of hell-bent on pushing the message forward that like get out of securing things the way you've always secured them, get out of thinking the way you've always thought, because our networks are borderless now, our users are everywhere, our data is everywhere. AI is accelerating the rate at which attackers are able to develop more sophisticated attacks. So attacks are more frequent, they're more challenging for organizations to keep up with. So at the end of the day, resilience, being able to make sure the business can continue to deliver the value it's there to deliver, even in the face of adversity, has to be the goal. And I'm so passionate about it that my PhD studies are actually focused on leveraging cyber resilience to bridge the communication gap between technical and non-technical leaders. Because while security leaders, technology leaders are focused on building resilient systems, building resilient operations, business leaders are focused on having a resilient business. And so if we use that as the common ground through which we communicate, then I think those communications stand to be a lot better, as long as we're speaking in the language of those that are listening to us. So my last tip for leaders is, please do not speak to your executives and your boards in bits and bytes when they're listening to you in dollars and cents. We got to drive some business value.
Sounds like there's a book underneath there when your PhD is finished. Is
yes,
that?
Absolutely.
Yes, I can't wait. I can't wait. Well, hopefully you'll be able to give me a copy so I can advance it and give my insights or just like learn about it. I think it's so cool. So I love what you said about don't talk in bits and bytes, talk in dollars and cents. Make sure you're communicating in the language that your stakeholders are going to understand. And I think that's such a great takeaway for all of us. Is there anything that you would like to add since we're coming to the end of our time?
I guess, one thing I'll add is folks often ask, well, how do I start a cyber resilience program. And the reality is it's no different than what you're doing today. It's just wrapping a destination and a mindset around why you're doing the things that you're doing, and it'll drive sort of different prioritization and outcomes in the organization. So figure out where your organization is. How's your leadership thinking about resilience? Because you might have to start there, getting buy-in for that, and then go from there. Don't try to boil the ocean because you'll never turn on the stove. You'll get stuck.
Sounds good. Well, thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you in person real soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching Channel Women in Security from CRN TV. Be sure to subscribe for more stories from the women who are shaping cybersecurity, breaking barriers, and making their mark on the channel ecosystem.